Hi, everybody, and welcome to Pinstripe People, a Yankees podcast sponsored by FanDuel, presented on the Believe Network. I'm Sal Maiorana. That is Mike Lindsley. Early Monday morning here, Mike, and had some time to digest a Yankees weekend that, look, they take care of business against a Toronto team that just gives them fits, but they take 2 of 3, and that's important because they cut another game off the Rays lead. They're within 3 now of the AL East leaders, and they stayed 3 games ahead of the Red Sox, who I had the unfortunate displeasure of watching the Red Sox game late Saturday, watching that 3-run rally in the 9th when I'm thinking the Yankees were going to stave off because they had lost earlier in the day. Anyways, Mike, it was a pretty good weekend, except for the injuries. We'll get to all that. Why don't you give us your opening comment?
Yeah, just kind of a recap weekend that was typical of what we've kind of talked about, right? Like you get a series win, you move on, you chop away. I told you it wasn't over yet in the AL East. I was leaning your way that it is, but I also said it's not yet all the way over. Some of the things that happened during the series, like Spencer Jones had more like really good at bats. I thought the team overall had better at bats. You get Bellinger back. I thought they had good energy too, like during the weekend. I mean, yeah, they had some blunders here and there, and it's amazing too, right? Typical Yankee fashion. They may have gotten the sweep if they had come back in the C's game. Wasn't that the one? And Chisholm leads off with that double, and you're thinking, oh, looky here, right? And of course, they can't get him in, right? But listen, no surprise that they had another injury over the weekend. No surprise that now Giancarlo Stanton's down again. I mean, the guy injures his left calf after he's trying to rehab 2 right calf strains. I mean, what an abysmal situation with him in pinstripes overall. But yeah, I mean, just a series win, a good win. And again, as we get closer to September, Sal, I think it's great to see like at least maybe there's a little bit of new life, maybe a little bit of new feeling in the lineup, something to feel better on. And then once Labor Day hits, like let's see now playing the best baseball the last 20 games, right? Because that's after all what this is about.
Yeah, the Saturday. The Saturday Yankee universe was not a good place, and we'll get to the wins on both sides of that Friday and Sunday. But Saturday, you wake up to the news that Giancarlo Stanton again can't perform the most basic of human activities, jogging around the bases. Somehow, a few days before, he tripped and fell. Dude is 36 years old, Mike, and he's an Adonis physique-wise. I don't know how the guy trips and falls on a perfectly manicured baseball field, but injured the other calf. Look, they kept telling us over and over and over he was getting close. You know, the stupid introduction to bases, like he had to learn how to run the bases all over again. The guy's been running bases for 30 years probably. I don't know about you, Mike, I never had the thought that he was going to come back and be impactful. Yeah, he might have eventually gotten back in September, but I never felt for a second that all of a sudden you're going to snap your fingers and he's going to start hitting bombs and the offense is going to be fixed. So when I heard the news that he's probably done for the year, it didn't even faze me. That was like the least most concerning thing that happened of all the things that happened Saturday. Give me your thoughts on Stanton.
No, I agree. I mean, I read it and was just kind of like ho-hum because the guy's just completely been injured his entire Yankee career. I mean, let's be honest, 2017, this team surprises. They go to the ALCS. They're 1 win away from the World Series. Remember, LeMahieu hit that ball opposite field against Houston. You're like, oh my God, are they going to go to the World Series? And then I thought maybe, I'm texting my buddies, Matt Michael and Scott Petoniak, and I'm like, did Cashman figure out the roster? We got all these young guys. We got Sanchez and Judge and Bird and Severino and shortly after they go out and get Giancarlo Stanton, completely blocks the roster. Now, listen, MVP, 59 home runs. He didn't have an injury history, really, up until being a Yankee. I mean, in fairness, that's why the deal was done. Jeter, though, fleeced this trade, right? I mean, he was there at the time. He trades Stanton. He pays for, I don't know what it was, $5 to $7 million a year. I mean, next year the Marlins are on the hook for $10 million of Stanton. By the way, the Yankees are on the hook for $15 million of it, and then after that, there's different clauses, buyouts, etc. So from that standpoint, you could go, well, NL MVP, power, home runs, Yankee Stadium, him and Judge. Like this makes sense, and they're paying some of this. Sure, this is easy. Bring them in. Yeah. We've got an offense. We have young guys ready to go. Other than getting hit in the face, if you remember that when he was Mike Stanton. Everything else has been roses for Giancarlo. Then he gets in pinstripes and he's been a complete disaster, especially from an injury standpoint. My problem was this. Righty bat power, he already had it with Judge and the contract. It almost looked like A-Rod all over again, except A-Rod produced a lot more because he was a better fielder. They were pretty equal runners. It's funny, I was reading an article last night on The Athletic where they said, it's not a failure in pinstripes. He just didn't rise up to what he should have been. I'm like, what's the difference? And then they're talking about his postseason, like, oh, only Bernie Williams and Jeter and a couple of these guys have more homers and he's equal to man. I'm like, can we please stop putting him in the category of these legendary Yankee players who performed in October? When Stanton has a great 5 games in October, everybody thinks that it's amazing for the career. Enough right now. He has as many sweeping slider strikeouts as he does home runs. He hits moon balls. He strikes out. He's been up and down his whole Yankee career, even in the postseason. When he plays and he hits homers and he's healthy, it's a beautiful thing. When he's not, it's ugly as sin, and that's where we are. And this may be the end of him in a Yankee uniform. It really might be.
Yeah, it might. That first year, Mike, you're right, Mike. That when they made that trade, I was perfectly on board with it. I mean, it looked like, wow, they're going to have Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge in the lineup for the next 10 years, right? And then back then, there was also Sanchez was part of that threesome, and you thought, man, this is going to be great. I remember his first game. He hit a home run. I think it might have been his first at bat up in Toronto, Stanton. You're like, holy shit, this is going to be – and that first year, he did play the whole year, 158 games. I think he had 38 homers, 100 RBIs. Everything looked fine. And then 2019 happened, and that was it. It fell off them. He played 19 games that year. He played, I think it was 23 in the COVID season. And then every year since, it ends up being, Mike, from the start of 2019 through whatever he's going to miss the end of the year here, it's almost 600 games this guy sat out. It's almost it's close to half of the possible games the Yankees have played in that time period. And you're right. He ended up being a clog on the roster. They couldn't do anything when he was playing. They couldn't do anything with the DH spot. It just never was good. Yes, he had a couple nice runs in the postseason. Not last year, by the way. He was terrible last year. The year before, the World Series year, yeah, he helped carry them. Him and Soto helped carry them to that World Series. But look, you're right. I think this should be it. They've got one more year. They're on the hook for $15 million next season. This has got to be it. If Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner give a shit about the Yankees' future, you just eat the $15 million. They've done it before and move on and open that roster spot for a guy like Spencer Jones or whoever it might be. Yeah. I made a point in my newsletter, $15 million. They just overpaid Trent Grisham $15 million this year to be on the roster. Just move on from Stanton. This can't continue. His career, it's a sad end for him. And I think he's 4 short of 500 homers? Is that what the number is on him?
14 short. Isn't he at
14? Okay. Whatever it is. He's close, but let him get it somewhere else, Mike. I'm done with Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One little thing, though, I know you were saying that you were on board, and I made the points why people could be on board for the trade when it happened at that time. I was not on board still. Really? I still wasn't on board because I didn't want the contract. I loved the youth, and I also saw other people coming in free agency. Hello, Machado, Bryce Harper, all these different guys. Over the course of time, I just didn't want it to be another A-Rod possible situation. Plus, I was concerned about Miami. I mean, you're going from Miami to the big market, New York. You just come off the A-Rod stuff. I mean, there were some similarities there. A-Rod still did a ton more as a Yankee. Even with his October choking, he still did 09. Giancarlo Stanton, wow, just a complete mess.
Yeah, it's too bad. So as we said, that to me, that was the least impactful news on Saturday. Then the game starts, and Ryan Weathers, who's been great. Ryan Weathers' last 6 starts before Saturday, 1.29 ERA, and he had worked himself into a position, Mike, where he might have been in the rotation for the playoffs. I mean, everyone talked about you're going to ride with Fried, Cole, Schlittler, and Rodon. But Weathers has been every bit as good lately as any of those guys. So they were going to have a tough decision. Well, now they don't because he hurts his arm on Saturday. It's a flexor strain, they said. The Yankees, they always underestimate everything when it comes to injuries. And Weathers himself said He dealt with this last year. It was a month. Well, Mike, if that's the best case scenario, the month is the rest of the regular season. Yep. And then what are you going to do? If you have your guys healthy, and now we're assuming that Max Fried can get back in about a week and be good, then you've got your 4-man rotation. It's going to be Cole, Fried, Schlittler, and Rodon. That was probably going to be the case. You hope you can get Weathers into your bullpen. You hope he's healthy enough, because I think the guy can still be an effective weapon for them. If he pitches the way he's been pitching lately, if you want to turn to him for a 2-inning stint in a playoff game, I think that would be great. It's way better than having to turn to Will Warren. So I hope he's back. But when I saw him walk off the mound, Mike, I'm thinking, see you in 2028.
Me too.
That just felt like, right? It felt like the Tommy John. So hopefully he avoided that, because that kid's been pretty good for them.
No doubt. And you could tell the way sometimes it's something right now. Sometimes they talk like this and they do the, you know, but sometimes they don't. Or there's a little of both. And they're on the mound. You can just kind of tell from people how they act and how long they're out there and how they move. And
you know what? Just the fact that he didn't try to throw a ball, right? Let me see how it feels. That's what got me. I'm like, oh, it's got to be his elbow.
Absolutely. That was the big layer for me too. By the way, Stanton has 456 home runs. I think I said 86. It's 56 home runs. But yeah, that looked pretty brutal. And I got to be honest with you, Sal, if they don't win the East, I mean, we talked with Tim Brown about this last show, like in a short series type thing. You have to go out there and win a game with Rodon. I don't know, man.
I know he's the one that would worry me. You're right.
I never trust him. I never trust the guy. So all those other guys, I mean, as long as Garrett Cole can cover first base, and, you know, Cam Schlittler, the way he's been, okay, he doesn't seem to be scared of the moment. Again, I don't know about Fried either. Like, it's so crazy, isn't it? Like, it's so crazy how you can feel so good about one unit of a sports team for like 4.5, 5 months. And all of a sudden you're a month from playoffs and you're like, you know, like you watch the Bill, you know, you cover the Bills. I love the Bills. The Bills, you can feel good about like week 12 or 13, winning like a 35-31 game. Good Morning Football's got the pom-pom Super Bowl contender. And then you go to the playoffs, you're like, you know, it's just so crazy how when the playoffs arrive in every sport, there's just like, I'm walking on thin ice, man. This staff now is all of a sudden like, I just kind of I don't know. I mean, I think it's still the strength, but then yet again, you're like, I mean, the bullpen's really got to have a great postseason.
They do. Look, the one thing that I'll say about the rotation, it's been great all year, first of all. No matter who they've thrown, they've really had a great year with the rotation. But with Fried missing as much time as he did, Rodon, Cole, these guys have all missed big chunks of the season.
For sure.
To me, I'm hoping that means they're going to be a little bit fresher in October, right? I mean, they have not got the only guy I worry about is Schlittler. Schlittler has already blown past his career high in innings pitched. And as we saw in the game on Friday, his last few starts, as good as he is, he has struggled with his command. He has not been the same pitcher he was early in the year when he was blowing. I saw him strike out 13 Reds that night at Yankee Stadium. He hasn't been that guy lately. So I worry more about him than I do the veteran guys, even though I think he's the best pitcher on the staff. It's the tiredness that I think he might be feeling come October. They have not been able to give him. I was hoping they'd skip him for a start, give him a rest. They haven't been able to do it because they keep having guys go down. There's always somebody to cover for, whether it was first Cole and Rodon, then it was Fried, then it was Fried again. It's all year long. So I feel good from the aspect of the rotation arms aren't going to be totally worn out by October, and I hope I'm right. But the bullpen arms could be worn out by the time we get to October.
Yeah, and I know you want to recap the games against the Jays. I'll let you rip through those. I got one little thing on the staff too. Going into the postseason every year, you have two guys in your rotation who are always injury prone no matter what. Yeah, before the huge contracts were signed, they had that history. Fried and Rodon, they have the history, and Cashman still gave them tons of years and tons of money. Again,
I know
it's on the medical reports, dude. It's on there, and he still gives it to those guys. I mean, you know, That's where, again, where's the outbidding for a Yamamoto? Where's the creative move to bring back like a one year Charlie Morton kind at the time, those kind of deals instead? Or I just, again, like the history of these guys with injuries, and they still gave them, what is it, north of 300 and I think 40 million combined, whatever it is. It's just bonkers. Anyways, I'll let you get to the series.
No, I mean, that you're right. You're right about all of that. Bullpen, one thing we should add to bullpen, let's hope they get Clark Schmidt back, because I think they could plug him into the bullpen and give, somebody a break. Fernando Cruz has kind of fallen out of the circle of trust for me. I mean, so maybe Schmidt can slide in and be that right-hander in place of Cruz. We'll see. And then again, Weathers and Warren could be a factor in the bullpen, but there again, there's two arms that have been kind of worn out this year. So it's going to be some interesting decisions they have to make. And you mentioned about how October is so different. It really is. When you think about the team that played all season long and then how they jerry-rig it in October, right? They got guys doing different things that they haven't done all year. It's kind of funny how it works in baseball. But anyways, let's get to the series real quick. The highlight for me on Friday was Spencer Jones hitting that 2-run homer. And it was funny because who knows if it was fair or foul. The ball was hit so high. It was hit to the moon. It was the same thing the night before with Pete Alonso. And I couldn't believe they overturned the Alonso home run, or they confirmed it was a foul ball. Couldn't believe that happened.
Fair by a mile.
This Jones one was like, was that because he didn't even think so. He kind of like trotted halfway to first and stopped because I think he felt it was foul, but whatever. They caught two huge breaks on back-to-back nights. And as it turned out, because the offense was shitty the rest of the night, that ended up being the difference in the game. So good job by him. I guess we could talk about that right now. Spencer Jones and George Lombard, I really like that they are leaning on these two kids and they're coming through. Spencer Jones has cut down on the strikeouts. He has been a better hitter in his second recall. And then George Lombard, the glove wasn't great this weekend, an error in all three games. And the one Sunday was brutal, but the bat has been surprising, Mike. He has been a pretty good hitter. And I wasn't sure that was going to be the case right away. We knew he could field, but he's been on base quite a bit for them. And I'll tell you what, he's getting close to me to being the leadoff guy. I mean, if he could continue to get on base like that with his speed, how about this yesterday, I think it was, the Yankees now have a guy who can go and score from first base on a double. How about that? I mean, just that alone should put him at the top of the order. But real quick, give me your thoughts on Jones, the homer Friday, and the way the two young kids have really integrated themselves into the team already.
Yeah, well, look, the Alonso homer, by the way, was fair by a mile, and I couldn't believe that they called that.
I couldn't believe it.
The way they did. Yeah, that was bonkers. But yeah, Jones, I mean, look, I'll start with him. Way more confidence, way more or way less overswing, way less underswing, right? The stuff that we talked about where the ball comes in, and even on like straight fastball, the guy's just swinging at everything and not level. He looks like he's starting to kind of really feel it out, getting more reps, feeling comfortable, confidence. It is strange, though. I had an interesting conversation with Matt Michael last week, who covered baseball for years.
Yep.
And he brought up a point about Aaron Judge and the Yankees, because all we do is complain about Cashman when we're together. I mean, there's a few things we talk about other than the Yankees. But he brought up a good point about, remember, Aaron Judge has his own hitting coach. Is there something to that, right? And then everybody else is learning from another guy and all this sort of stuff. But Spencer Jones, man, again, more. Just keep playing. What's interesting, though, is it's been a young man's game for a while. Machado, Harper, Acuna, Jackson Churio. I could go on and on, right? In baseball, guys coming up at 18, 19, and you usually know by 2021 if they're the guy, right? Spencer Jones is 25 years old. So again, another Yankee prospect where if he comes into anything, he's going to be in his upper 20s. So, that chunk of time, it's like, okay, well, did you hang on to him? Did you move him? Did you reach the ceiling kind of thing? Like, these are the things where organizationally they just juggle these balls and they have no idea what end is right. So I hope he does pan out now because they have hung on to him. Lombard, the errors, you know what? Derek Jeter had a couple early too. Remember, he had $1 million in Greensboro before he got called up and all that sort of thing. I'm not worried about the weekend. He's got a boxing ahead to him. I love the speed. I think the speed's the most underrated part of his game. The glove's probably the top. the bats coming around, the average. You can sense, though, that he just gets it. He loves being there. He loves the guys. He loves the clubhouse. He loves the game. The glove's the best. The speed's the most underrated part. I am with you 100%. I had the same feeling over the weekend. I would love to see this guy bang one right field, get on base, or even draw a walk. Next thing you know, you're up 1-0 with 2 outs. Assuming, of course, the Yankees can actually get a hit.
Yeah, exactly. The other, I mean, with the Stanton news, right? The first thing I thought of, because Bellinger comes back, so they immediately send down Max Schumann, who would just come up for a day or two. But I'm thinking if they bring Stanton back, who's going down? They're probably, we had talked about, I said they should DFA Paul Goldschmidt because he really has no role on the team. Other people have said Rosario, which I'd be fine with. Rosario stinks. But the thing is, Rosario can play a bunch of different spots. He can hit left-handed pitching, so there's a little bit of value. The guy that was going to pay the price for Stanton probably was going to be Spencer Jones because he has options to be sent down. So in that respect right there, not getting Stanton back, keep Spencer Jones on the team, and I'm happy with it. I was down on him, Mike. I mean, his first call-up, we saw exactly what we've seen his whole career in the minors, 40% strikeout rate, just absurd. Well, let me tell you, since I just called it up, since he got called up July 22nd, the last recall, the average is not great, 233. On base is 313, not great, but the OPS, Mike, is 789. That's what they need from him. He's getting on base, 4 doubles, 5 homers, 15 RBIs. That's what he's got. He's got more in that sample size than Austin Wells has for the entire season. Even though Wells has come around and he's hitting better, Spencer Jones in like half of the games has a greater offensive profile by a mile than Austin Wells. So I really love Spencer Jones and George Lombard. I'm hoping that's the future. You look at those two guys, 2 young kids, those good-looking kids, they can own New York in a couple of years, man. If they can play well, I'm excited about those two. In that game, Mike, the Blue Jays had traffic all day long. They had about 15 like bloop, 40-mile-per-hour hits in that game too.
Yep.
4 for 18 in runners in scoring position. The Yankees were 1 for 12. I mean, that was like baseball at its absolute worst all day long. Yep. And the Yankees ended up getting the bad end of it and lost 4-3. Almost came back at the end. Garcia hit the 2-run homer. Trent Grisham failed in 2 huge spots, leaves the bases loaded in the 8th, and then strikes out to end the game with Chisholm at 3rd as the tying run. So, man, the whole Saturday was just such a miserably shitty day for the Yankees. And you could have a comment if you want, but they salvaged it on Sunday by getting the win.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of expect that they were going to have one of those kind of games against the Jays, right? Because that's
really,
I mean, that's kind of how they lose to most teams, but especially how they lose to Toronto, right? I mean, that game was kind of a Toronto type game, a lost deal. But then, being able to just kind of come out of the whole thing and chop down. And again, I once we're to Labor Day, I mean, all the games 162 matter, and all of the games in 162 don't. They do and they don't. We've made our arguments for and against. We've done it a million times. I'm not going to go down that road. But they really matter post Labor Day, especially if you're a team like the Yankees, because all you've done is this all year long. Your offense has stunk. You've been injured. You've had this and that go on. The American League is terrible. We give the Rays flowers for as a World Series contender to get there and maybe win it, because it's just that set 7-game series a la 06 when Detroit and the Cardinals met, and it was, the NL is so bad compared to the AL, and then the Cardinals beat the Tigers in the World Series, because I told people it's one series. It's not the whole year. Is that a case where the Rays, well, now the Rays have come back a little bit. So especially for a team like the Yankees, these series are very, very common. But if you can come out winning 2 instead of losing 2, get into your Labor Day stretch, get into mid-September, get as many reps for all these guys who are coming back, and play the best you can the last 15, get as hot as you can, and pray the pitching holds up, score some runs. Let's see what happens in the dance.
Yeah, they scored some runs Sunday, finally. Yep. Well, I think it was second time since, I think it was July 28th, they scored 8 runs or more.
Right.
Second time since, that's almost a full month and they've had 2 games where they've scored 8 or more runs. One of them, the other one was against the Mariners a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, the bats came alive. They had 11 hits on Sunday. They were facing a good pitcher. Jose Soriano was a trade day acquisition of the Blue Jays from the Angels, and he had pitched really well early in the year. I remember last year he pitched against the Yankees and I think he shut them out over 7 innings. So I was a little concerned about this game, but Yankees put up some good at bats in this game. It was nice to see, Mike. It was actually good to see them put some rallies together. They actually scored runs in 4 different innings. Imagine that. Usually the Yankees put like 3 up in 1 inning, and that's it for the game. This one, they kept pecking away, got an early lead on Soriano. Rodon gave it back a little bit, but he actually nailed up, because when Lombard made his error, that was going to be an inning-ending double play in the 4th inning. Would have been a 2-1 game at that point. Rodon did a nice job. All he allowed was a sac fly. It was 1 out, bases loaded. Got out of that jam, and then the big inning was the 6th inning. How about Jazz loads the bases with a beautiful bunt single? So that was I'll give him credit for that. And then after 2 shitty at bats, and you're thinking, here we go, bases loaded, no outs in a tie game. They're going to screw this up. They get Grisham with a great at bat for a walk to drive in a run, and then Ben Rice, who, let's face it, man, he has been fighting it. He has, the last month and a half, he has really struggled. Good at bat there, 2-run single, and the Yankees went from there. So I liked that win. That's the kind of game we want to see from them, Mike. They were gritty, they were tough, had a lead, blew it, came back, took the lead again, held on at the end. That's the kind of game we want to see from the Yankees, and we just don't see it enough.
Yeah, they beat the Jays the way Wyndham Clark won the U.S. Open and the BMW Championship, being up 4 or 5 strokes, giving it back, being tied, then going out and birdieing the last 3. They played like Rory winning the Masters. It's kind of like a golfer, right? You have the lead, you give it back, you win it, you get the gallery against you, then you get them pulling for you. Yeah, that was a good win. And I will say that Saturday game too, like Dylan Cease, man. I mean, you saw the adjustments he made against the Yankees compared to the last time out, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of knew the Yankees weren't going to be able to seize the moment against the Jays that day. You like to see what I did there? But I gotta be honest though. I mean, yes, you're right. The tough, gritty part Sunday, but to come back too, right? When you lose to an ace, it's kind of it's a Sal Maiorana special. Oh, there's no way they're going to win that game against the ace, right? Well, it was correct on Saturday. Boom, you move to Sunday. You just, again, baseball is over Saturday. We play again today, and the Yankees got a big win on Sunday. That was a good one. You're right. I mean, for you to go through that sequence again, I was just having it in my head, and that was a good one on Sunday.
Yeah, so they take the season series from the Jays, which they had done that last year. It doesn't matter this year against the Jays, but good. I can't stand that team, as you know. Jays, Rays, Red Sox, man, they're like the bane of my life. I don't mind the Orioles for some reason. They don't piss me off. Those other 3 teams. So to beat the Jays, always a good thing. And here's another good thing, Mike. Unless they happen to cross paths in October, which I hope they don't, we are done for the year with, at the face of evil, Alejandro Kirk. We are done with him until 2027, if there's a 2027. That guy, Mike, he might be at the very top of the list now of Yankee. Every time he comes to the plate, they can't get the guy out. It's unbelievable.
And he does everything. He does everything. He hits it the other way. He pulls the ball for power. He goes the other way with power. In the gaps, he can walk. I mean, he kills them everywhere.
Done with him for the year, thank God. So good riddance to the Jays. All right, Matt, Mike, we're going to wrap it up. They got a day off on Monday, and then the Astros come in for the middle segment of this really big homestand. I mean, the Red Sox are at the end of it, but they got the Astros in here for 3. The Astros are in first place, tied for first place in the AL West.
By default.
One game under 500. So they're not a terrible team. They've got some hitters. Jordan's coming to town.
Yeah.
Triple Crown. He's got the Triple Crown right now, and it looks like he's in good shape to hold on to that. It'll be a tough series. Now, their pitching has not been great. Houston's pitching can be got, but big series for the Yankees. Get it done against a team that we also kind of hate.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, all these games are big now. The next 10 days, I would say, about 10 days, looking at the calendar for me, it's just the ramp up to get to the point to finish strong. So you're rising going into the most important month of all, October.
That's right. All right, we're going to wrap it up. This has been Pinstripe People, a Yankees podcast. He's Mike Lindsley. I'm Sal Maiorana. Thanks for being here. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment for us, too. We'd be happy to see what everyone thinks of the show. So until Friday morning, we'll be talking to you next after the Astros series. Have a great week, and let's hope for 3 Yankees victories. And hey, Mike, if they have a good series against the Astros, we could be talking about what, the first place tied Yankees? Is it possible? Is it possible that the Rays can keep? Well, we'll see. I did say it was over. I still think it is. All right, folks, take care. We'll see you later.